We are live. We are live. Good afternoon. Happy Monday.
Good, good afternoon. Happy Monday.
How you
Yes,
feeling?
I feel great. What about you?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. It's been like I said, I was telling you, it's been a long morning already. I don't really like
Yeah,
that, but
I
we do
know.
it.
I know. I went to a groundbreaking this morning,
Oh, I love that.
and
Oh wow, where?
it was in the community for a uh some housing that's being built in the community. So Habitat for Humanity has been working for a while to build these 7 properties. So they're building 7 new homes in the Austin community, and yeah, I was invited to go to their to the groundbreaking.
Love that.
It's like it's a photo opportunity, but I think it's important for community members to be there for those things. So, but it was really cold. I didn't really stay that long. But yeah, that was this morning. And I don't usually, Mondays are like, I don't usually do that
Do a
on
whole lot.
Monday mornings. No, but I understand.
You made the adjustment.
Sometimes you got to.
Sometimes you have to, like me,
Mhm.
child, like me. Okay, so what's the update on the fundraiser? How are those things going?
It's going good. I mean, like fundraising. Once I really got that when there's a mission that is a people based mission,
Mhm.
once I really got that, I will be fundraising. Like everything that I do is around that. Once
Mhm.
I once I understood that, I'm like, okay. So it's just me kind of continuing to be consistent in sharing with people, which
Mhm.
is not something that I'm used to doing uh,
Consistently.
consistently. Yeah. So just, being more consistent with it, the last couple of weeks, I've been kind of like sporadically, um, sharing. However, I've noticed that I've been getting a lot of feedback from that. And when I do share, I do get donations, right? Like, so I
Mm.
did notice that like when I'm sharing, people get it, like one of my friends is like, she didn't really she's like the algorithm, she doesn't really see some of the
Mhm.
things in the algorithm. So she was just like, yeah, I didn't see anything until a couple of days after you launched your fundraising campaign. So that's just letting me know that I gotta share I gotta share
You got
more
it. Yep.
consistently about, because it is getting to the people are seeing it. Even today when I went out to the groundbreaking, folks were just like, I see you, I see what you're
Yeah.
doing. So people are seeing it. However, sometimes you got to touch people many times
Yeah.
before they like actually act.
Yeah.
But then, like, what else am I sharing? You know what I mean? So just developing all of those things, like what we talked about last week, like tapping into my creative genius and, putting out other ways for me to create, you know, pathways for me to have other types of income, right?
Yeah.
And then like sharing my value, having me see my value
Yeah.
first and foremost.
Yeah.
And how do I, create those spaces for me to, you know, make some income from that,
Yeah.
so like, just refining the, the story, just being very intentional about, the conversation, like what we do here, you know,
Yeah.
it's just tightening those things up, but that happens with practice, right?
Yeah,
So
and the great thing is too is you can get people involved with the conversation. So like going live with people who are also like other parts of the process and just having different conversations about that. Just finding other ways to give other people value,
exactly,
like while you're doing those lives. Driving
exactly.
stuff. nuggets and things like that. And
Yeah.
you know how to do this.
Oh yeah, girl. I
You
mean,
know this. You
I
know
got
how
the
this goes.
how. Say what?
I said, you know how this goes. Hold on, I'm
Oh yeah.
sorry. My
No,
dog.
no worries. I know I got the how. I
Yeah,
just it's just about the action behind
yeah.
the how. So yeah, just doing it consistently. So I created a structure for me to do that daily,
Mhm.
um, which I'm really excited to start tomorrow, which is my birthday. Tomorrow's my birthday.
Yes, period.
But yeah, it's just like really having my morning time devoted to me first and foremost, but then also the things that come out of those conversations with me, like those are the nuggets, those are the things that have value, and those are the things that I want to find ways to share those
Mhm.
to the world. So yeah, I'm excited, girl. This is
I'm
exciting.
excited for you. What are you doing for your birthday?
That's a good question. I don't usually celebrate my birthday, to be honest with you. I haven't celebrated my birthday in a lot of years. So I don't usually, I mean, if anything, I'll do something at home, or I might
Mhm.
go out to eat or something like that. But, I don't have anything planned.
I hear you. You know what? I'm typically that way. I don't typically make a big deal. I never really made a big deal out of my birthdays for real. Trying to think, maybe 30 because I did like a beach party and like stuff like that. But this year, I'm thinking I'm gonna celebrate. I feel like just with man, let me back up. So earlier, I went to take my granny to her doctor's appointment, and I
Yes, tell me about your morning.
had her
Yes.
caregiver with us, and so we were in the car. This is how I know I'm celebrating my birthday this year because God is good. Literally on the expressway this morning, I probably still haven't processed it for real on the expressway, but in the far right lane, and I'm looking at this semi like get on the expressway, but just going super fast. Luckily, it wasn't carrying a tractor or anything, but just going super fast. So it gets on the expressway so fast that it's like right behind the car that was in front of me. But they're like above, like they're in front of me, but it's like space. And so I literally, God is so good because I saw it before it happened. I was looking at it and I'm like, he is going to hit this person. He's going so fast. Literally. So I started slowing down. I'm already on the far right lane anyway. So I just slowed down and I watched this dang truck like have to hit the brakes really hard and does a 360 right in front of us
What?
on the expressway. Literally, it by the grace of God that it did not, like, luckily I saw it, so I wasn't on, like, I wasn't so far like into it that I would have had no other way. So I was
Right.
able to really like stop. But luckily that truck did not like hit anybody, like it did a full 360 on the expressway. And
Mm.
we were able to just keep going. But that truck, I don't know, like it had to definitely, I'm sure it caused like some backups. But I'm just like, life is really short, and that happened like this right in front of us. And I don't know. I guess I bring that up to say that I'm definitely celebrating my birthday this year. I'm realizing like, yeah, you only get one every year. Like, why not?
Mhm.
But that just made me put a lot into perspective just this morning because that's how random it was. And I was
Mm.
just like, all I could think was, man, God is good. God is good for sure. Cause that could have went a lot of different ways. And our car was the one right behind it.
Well, you were also, I think you're so tapped in, Wanaki, right? Like you're so aware of what's happening. You know what I mean? Like that shows how present you are,
Mm.
right? Because you saw it happening.
Yeah.
Now, just imagine if you weren't present.
I thought about that.
Yeah. If
Girl.
you weren't present and you didn't see any of that stuff happening, like you were dealing with whatever in your head or whatever circumstance that you think you have to deal with while you're driving, where you don't, because all you're doing is driving. And you had was your grandma with you? Was she in the
She
car
was
with
in the
you?
car, so she was a
She
little
was,
shaken up. And then
yeah.
the caregiver, she looked up and because it literally happened right in front of us.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. That's what happens when you're aware
Mm.
and you're tapped in and you're present. and you're there doing the thing that you're doing, and that is the thing that you're doing. And
Yeah.
you were driving,
Yeah.
right? So that I think that that's an important part of just part of the conversation that we're having today, right? Which is embracing change with grace. And I think that's a great example of when your circumstances aren't controlling you,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Because you're still dealing with life. You're still dealing with whatever the hell life is has in store for you, which might not be all positive, which might not be all negative, right? But it is what it is.
Hmm.
But you were able to deal with what life threw at you, right?
Yeah.
Because you were present.
That makes me wonder, like, dang, should I be more shaken up by this? Like, as I think about it, I'm like, should this? Because that really was a big deal. Like, that could have been fatal,
It could have been,
but
but
it
it
wasn't.
wasn't.
Yes.
So I think that and I think that that's the perspective, right? Because like I think that that's a story too. Like
Mm.
what could have happened is a story. What is is what is, right? Like what happened is what happened. And I don't think there is a need to add anything
That's
else
great. Hmm.
to it, right? Like other than the fact that you're still here, nobody was hurt, or at least in your space of
Right,
existence.
right, right.
There could have been some other things happening, right? But like because of you being present, that's what being present looks like.
Mm.
That's what it looks like. How you respond to life
In the
is
moment.
what gives you the amazing life that you have or not, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if you're not responsive, or you're allowing circumstance to run you, like yeah, all those things could happen. You could be shaken up by it.
Yep.
You could be like all like freaked out about it, right? Even though nothing happened. But
Yeah.
you're not.
I love
It's
this one.
so great.
Look, I'm like, is this weird? Shouldn't I be shaking that like the whole time? But I don't know. I love it. Okay, let's get into our conversation. We got some viewers today. We got two, period. We're growing.
Okay, come on, folks.
Okay, so we're talking about embracing change. So what put this on your heart today, with embracing change with grace? I had a real specific prayer. I want to say a couple of years ago, where it was just like, God, teach me how to navigate chaos with grace. And
Mm.
so, change, transition, but it was really chaotic during that time. And so I really wanted to be able to be graceful as I, navigated it. So for you, like, what is navigating like any type of change or transition with grace? What does that even mean? What does it look like? And, let's just start there.
So I just want to highlight that change is the only thing constant in life.
That's good.
Life is all about change. And if you're not focused in on that, then when change happens, that's when it becomes rocky and it becomes chaotic, right?
Mm,
Like everything that happens for us,
yes.
not to us, right? So
Yep.
I think that's the first and foremost thing I think is very important to highlight. Like when life happens, like, like let me give you let me think of
Yes, let's do it
let me
on
think
this
of an
Monday.
example.
You know
Let
I'll
me
be
give an
ready for it.
example of like life happening and me dealing with life and embracing the change and embracing it with grace. So, as you all know, I this is a huge transition for me. I don't have any clients right now.
Hmm.
I have no clients. I don't have any income, um, other than what I create, right? So everything that I'm doing is creating that. I'm being the thing that is attracting the thing, right? So it's this is a very this is a very uncomfortable
Yeah.
space to be in.
Yeah.
Any entrepreneur knows. Like I was talking to one of my friends and she was like, she has a day job and she gave her day job up, you know? And so taking those steps and being, like being confident in it, but then also understanding that some things aren't going to happen the way that I want them to. Like some things aren't going to be the way that I'd like for them to. Like I wanted to do this project, the Out West Gallery and Cafe. I wanted to do it with my sister. Like I created it with her initially, but she changed her mind. But she is, you know, that happens. That's life, right?
Yeah.
So for a year and a half, I just sat on it. Like, what do I do with this thing?
Yeah.
So I had to, I shifted. I was like, okay, Vanessa, it's time for you to pivot. It's not that, it's now as you got to pivot into something that really highlights the things that you want to create in life, right? And so like I had to shift, I had to pivot, right? But I didn't make her wrong for the changes that she wanted to make in her life. Like I don't know what that is like for her,
Mm-hmm.
so she had to, she made those changes. Now, initially, I was not happy about it. Initially, I was pissed because I was like holding the bag. I was like holding the thing. And I'm like, fuck, now I got to do all this shit by myself. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And so at first, I wasn't happy with it. It took me a little time, but I accepted it. I said, you know what, Vanessa, just take the time. I was afforded the time. I got the time, so I just took the time, right? So I think what it means to embrace change with grace is to understand that change is not going to look the way that you think it's going to look.
Yeah.
Know that coming into the thing, you
Yeah.
know, understand that if you have people that you're working with, people have lives.
Yep.
They have things that they want to do. They might not work out the way that you want them to, um, with the people that you're working with. But if as long as you're confident, as long as you have a good support people groups, then you can like actually shift and pivot into the things that you really want. I just think that you have to be malleable. You
Yeah.
got to be able to be flexible. You have to be able to understand, and you have to, just allow people to be, that everybody's talking about this Mel Robbins book, Let Them,
Let them.
yeah, it's just like you just got to say, okay, I
I
mean,
mean, that's believe them. That's Maya Angelou. That's when people show you who they are the first time, believe them.
right. Exactly. So I think, when it comes to embracing change is understand that change is constant. It's all, life is always changing. Just like today with you and the possibility of that happening to you, you
Yeah.
know, that could have been a huge life change,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's like those are the things that happen in life,
Yep.
and how we
That's so true.
deal with those things, how we like how we're able to pivot or respond to life is that's what it's really about. It's
That's so,
about us responding
yeah.
in such a way, not like reacting, like
Yeah.
but taking a deep breath, taking a seat back. It's okay to tell people, I need to take a little time to think about it. You know, that was like one of the first things for me was to say, like not being so quick to react. You
Yep.
know, like that was like one of the first things like 10 plus years ago when I realized like, wait a minute, I can say no. I can say, well, let's wait, because I was always so like, reactive.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's just that, like, like being malleable, being able to just sit back and allow.
Yeah, I think I would agree with you. I think it's about flexibility. Honestly, I think the more flexible you are, the more like endurance you have. in general, because to your point, things are constantly happening and changing around. And I'm happy to hear you say that too, like it's about our adaptability, because just like I asked you earlier today, I'm like, dang, am I crazy? Should I be feeling shaken up, or should I be feeling away? And it's like, no, like I've really like trained and programmed myself to be able to stay calm and to think clearly, real time when things are going on. And today was an example of that, honestly, now that I think about it. And that makes me feel good. It makes me feel good. And it makes me want to embrace more change, because it's almost like, okay, well, what's going to come from this? Like, what's going to come from this? Um, but of course I wasn't always that way. So and I'm sure change wasn't always like well, for me, it just wasn't always that way. It wasn't. I had
Mm-mm.
to do a lot of work to get here. So I'm wondering, like, what was the work in yourself that you noticed you had to like really lock in on in order to like learn to navigate transitions better, or change in a way that didn't like rock your world every time something shifted?
I think first of all, for me, it was like seeing my impact,
Mm.
like seeing the impact that I have on the people around me. I don't think I was so tuned in to that. It was about me. You know what I mean? Like I made it about myself, and I wasn't really tuned in to how I impact others or other situations or like I wasn't aware of it. So once I started to see that my impact on other people, that's when I was like, oh, okay, maybe I need to do some work.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not about them, like I was in that pointing the finger, da 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 them, when it was really me,
Hmm.
so I had to sit down and I had to do the work on me.
Yeah.
Say, okay, so why am I reacting this way, or what is underneath that reaction? Like, what's there for me? Like, what? And it usually was some, fear, resentment. A lot of the time, bitterness, things like that. That was underneath all of that stuff, right? But I had to come clean. You know what I mean? That's the other part, is like cleaning up my word, like. So that I thought was very challenging, you know what I mean? Because there was a bit of vulnerability that I had to go back and be like, hey, I was wrong, or I said something that impacted you and I apologize, or whatever, you know what I mean? Like once I started to see that it was really about me, and the reason why I was having such a hard time embracing change, or dealing with whatever circumstance was going on, or if I was pointing my fingers at somebody and being like, well, I mean, it could be something simple as like, oh, that person did that thing, or that job did that thing, or, and those things might have been true, but it's really about how I respond to those things
Yes.
that makes the difference, right? And so by me blaming folks, doesn't change what happened, right? It doesn't change anything. All it does is it leaves the power with them instead of with me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I gave away my power, instead of being responsible for that
Yeah.
energy. So I think that's a lot of vulnerability, because I had to admit that I wasn't really being myself. You know what I mean? For whatever reason, I was in my head, or whatever the hell I was dealing with at the time. So I mean, it was a lot of work that I had to do on this person right here. You know, just like realizing that I'm impacting the people around me, man. Even when I don't think that I am.
Yeah.
Just me being there, you know what I mean, impacts people. Um, and I think that a lot of folks aren't tapped in
Yeah,
to
they aren't.
that.
They really are. It's so interesting.
It is like I
So interesting.
it is like I find like I've been really quiet lately. Like I've been noticing I'll go places and I'll do things, and I'm just in the I'm in the back. Like I don't really say a whole lot. I'm really quiet, and the reason and I noticed it today when I went to that groundbreaking. I was like, damn, I see you like you're really quiet. Um, but I just don't have time. I just don't want to talk bullshit. Like I just don't want to talk about the fucking weather. It's cold. Like I don't. And what else?
What
What
is
else
it?
you gotta say about
Yeah,
shit?
yeah.
It's cold outside. It's snowing.
That
Like I don't.
part.
Do I need to say anything else about it? No. But if I'm gonna have a conversation, I want it to be a meaningful one. I want it to. I don't want it to be just some surface bullshit. So I said, you know what? If somebody wants to talk to me,
I'm gonna talk.
they gonna talk. They gonna come up to me and
Yeah,
talk to me. Like I'm not moving.
that part. That part, I was that way with this fellowship I've been in. And the first couple of weeks I really noticed that I wasn't really like fully engaged, mainly because of like the my own thoughts. I'm like, this is just really surface level conversation, just kind of the past time. And I just wasn't into it. I'm like, I don't like doing this. I don't like forcing myself to talk about things that I don't actually want to talk about or care about, you know for the sake of trying to find commonality for like a as a assignment type thing. But
Mm-hmm.
so last week I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna go and I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna just because initially I found myself just like so much so that they thought I was an introvert, which was so crazy to me. Like for those of like one of the instructors was talking, she's like, for those of us who are more introverted and kind of looked at me, I'm thinking to myself like, girl, what? I'm just not an introvert.
They don't know you, girl.
Like, girl, what? No, but that's so interesting too because it was like the label right away, and it's like, no, I just don't know the space. It's just not. It has to activate me first. But then last week I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna come in activated, and I'm gonna see how this goes. And it was really it was really interesting. And then it so much so that I'm like, this week, do I want to talk so much as much? I don't know if I do want to. I don't know. And I don't know what that is, but I'm just like, I'd rather just sit back and just.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather be I'd rather be invited to be engaged with
Mhm.
rather than because I know me, I will take over your
That's what
conversation.
I felt. Like that's what I felt
I'll
last.
take over the
I'm
thing.
like,
You
man,
know
I'm
what
like,
I
this is
mean?
too easy, and I
And
can
then
talk about this all day. Like this is nothing.
right. So I've learned I'd rather take a step back, and if somebody wants to have a conversation with me, they can reach out. But then also too, I've noticed like I am so giving with information. I'm so giving with sharing one on one
Mm,
that I don't want to do a lot of that anymore.
same.
Like I don't, and it's not that I don't like I love doing it, but I just noticed like people have access to like people have access to me. And so like they'll call me and be like, oh Vanessa, what do you think about this? Or what do you think about that? And because I'm being engaged with, I'll sometimes
Answer.
answer and then just tell them, you know, how to get the thing. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I can't be doing that shit
Every
all the
time.
time. It's like you gotta go to my link, go book a meet, and then let's talk about that. You know what I mean? Like it's like I'm really getting more in tuned with my value. So I'm not sharing as much in certain spaces.
Hmm.
Um, but will. I mean, I'm not saying that I won't, but I just don't do it as much because I don't want to have everybody have access to me.
No, I know what you mean exactly what you're saying because I'm the same way. I would literally want like I'll be out and I have to stop doing it. I'll go out and literally find myself one person because it will be around me for the rest of the time. And that's the one person I see the whole time. And I'm like, I can't keep doing that.
Right.
I can't keep doing that. I have to learn how to like short and just let people know we can, just hit me. I gotta move around.
Right.
Stay and engage.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I do the same thing. And like I and I think that like I'm such an easy person to talk to. Like people find it very easy to talk to me. Like even today, like at that thing, there was this lady that was standing next to me, and I know she wanted to say something to me, and I did not say anything, and I just stood there, and I could see her in the corner of my eye, continuing to look at me, but I'm like, no, bitch, I'm not fucking doing it. I'm not doing it. No,
No,
if you want to know something, tap me and say something. Ask me a question.
that
But I'm
part.
not doing it. And I'm just not. Yeah, yeah. I'm getting more in tuned with like just who I am. So I did this thing. I'm going to share this with you. Since
Okay.
you're not really into astrology.
But I'll be open to listen.
Okay, so I went to ChatGPT this morning, and so there is a there's a full moon on April 12th.
Okay.
And so full moons are for like, um, okay, wait, full moons. Okay, so this full moon will light up parts of try to write it down. So I think it's like full moons are for like manifestation, I believe. Please
Okay.
don't um, quote me on that. But I put in to ChatGPT, this full moon is happening on the 12th, that how do I stop being undervalued
Oh.
using this full moon?
Oh wow.
And so, because of where one of my planets, Venus, right? So, Venus is really about money, love, like all the good things, like attracting all of those things to you, right? And so, my Venus planet is in Aries,
Mm-hmm.
and it's in this particular house in my natal chart, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
I asked, like, how does that impact? How is that? How do I stop being undervalued using this full moon? And what it said was, so Venus rules love, money, and value.
Mm-hmm.
So because of where my planet is in Aries, so Aries is bold, individualistic, instinctual, and the ninth house is my higher mind, my philosophy, my broadcasting tower. So it says that I'm not here to play small. I'm here to lead with with my vision, to teach, to provoke, and to create belief systems for others through what you live, through what I live, right? So
Mm-hmm.
so um so I've been undervalued because here it is. You ready? Because I've let people play in my Venus energy without paying the fee. I've been given the download for free. I've been handed people a piece. I've handed people the piece of my philosophy, my sparkle, my knowing without making them pay tribute.
Hmm. Sounds like me.
So I stood there and I was like, I know people see me, right, at this thing. I know this lady sees me, and I know she knows who I am because I had a name tag on, and I was invited to this thing. So it wasn't like it was just some random folks. And when I came out, I said hello to all the people that were sitting in the front row because I know all those folks, right? And I was like, no, I'm not engaging. Like, just not doing it. So it was good. It was good for me to. It's good for me to really be start. To have the confidence, right? To really know what confidence is, how it shows up for me in my life, what it looks like for me to be confident, so I could feel it.
Mhm.
And that's why when I stood there today and didn't say anything, I felt the value. I saw my own value. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like I felt it. I was like, yeah, bitch, I know who the fuck
Um,
I am.
yes.
Yes.
That's such a beautiful feeling. Like
And
because
then
it's like an outer body experience. You can
it
see
is.
yourself having the experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Like so I was like, okay, this is what it looks like. You know what I mean? This is what it looks like to 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 continue to to be on the journey and to carve out this space and to say yes to my life and the things that I'm creating and to say okay, like I don't have to. I don't just because it's uncomfortable, just because I'm standing next to somebody, I don't have to say shit.
Hmm.
I don't have to have small talk and be like, oh my God, it's so cold out here. Oh my God, like, oh my,
Ooh.
I'm not doing that. It's not. I'm not gonna do it. We're all cold. Everybody's shivering out here. Like, But I left because I was like, I'm not gonna be shivering. Fuck
That part.
that.
I think like the small talk thing is so interesting because the more I hear you talk about it, like I'm a small talker, but strategically.
Yeah.
Like, so to your point, if I'm eating and I'm at a table by myself, I don't want you to come sit by me and eat with me and tell me I look lonely because I did it on purpose. I want to be by myself. And I really don't want to talk to have small talk. But if I think it's something that I might be interested in, I'll start a serious conversation off with small talk. So I think it's like levels to like small talk because when I hear you say that, I'm thinking to myself, I hate when people feel space just to feel the space.
Yeah. I do it. I mean, sometimes I do it, but I'm trying to get out of the habit of doing it. Like
Yeah.
even when I go to like Trader Joe's or if I go to the grocery store, I'm like one of those people that talks to the checkout people, right? But I'm just like, is there some other question that I can ask rather than it be so surface level? Like
Hmm.
we all know we can look outside and see how cold it is outside. We all have to,
Feel it.
we have to deal with the cold, right? But what is there something, what else? So I'm gonna look because I know I had some questions somewhere. I had them somewhere, girl. Because I've been thinking about it, just like, you know, um, yeah, just like how to be more present, to be present without being surface.
Yes. And that's the question. That's it. That's it.
Mhm.
Okay, really quickly. I'm going to give you the screen and then we can talk about the fundraiser and how people can donate really quickly while I'm getting cussed out by my dog.
Okay.
You hear her cussing me out.
Oh yeah. What does she want to go outside?
Yes. So I bet we can use this as an opportunity for people to know how to donate and just about the fund really
Yeah,
quick.
I'll talk about it. I'll talk a little bit about it. Yeah. So thank you, Waniki. So the Out West Gallery and Cafe is a project that I've been creating for the last couple of years. I'm on the west side in the Austin community. I'm sorry. I'm in the Austin community on the west side. And, over the last few years, just been working with folks on the Chicago Avenue corridor. I helped to create Popcorns, which is an outdoor plaza space, which um, is an outdoor space that the community uses for different events. Since it's on Chicago Avenue, part of the work of Popcorns was to help to create, just spaces for us, especially along corridors. It's so important that we are connecting with our businesses, with our community. So out of that project, also work with Paint the City. I know Wanakee works with Barrett a lot. And Paint the City did the mural. It's an iconic mural on the wall of what the Out West Gallery and Cafe will be. So a few weeks ago, I launched a campaign called the People Power Projects, helping to fund this project, the Out West Gallery and Cafe, but other projects that I'm working on. West Side Review, which is a quarterly newspaper, which will be uh, housed inside the Out West Gallery and Cafe. Um, Other conversations, stuff that I'm doing, helping to help bridge, just community with art and culture. I also have a couple of other projects that I'm working on North Avenue with the Third City Studio and Third City Cafe, and then the North Austin Arts District, which will be at North and Central, working there too. So it's a model of development that I'm creating. The Atlas Gallery and Cafe will transition or convert to a worker-owned co-op. So one of the things that I've been spreading this conversation about cooperatives on the West Side for the last, let's see, it's 2017. It's for the last 8 years. And what the one thing that has come up a lot inside this conversation around cooperatives is that it's a whole mindset shift, y'all. Like when you tell people that they could be part owner in something, uh, you know, it's just a lot of conversation around cooperatives, right? But it's challenging. It's a different way of looking at business. It's a different way of building with each other, having to figure out ways to, um, deal with conflict. Like I think in our communities, since we've been so traumatized, not only by the government, by our own people, it's challenging to trust people, but what I'm seeing though more so is like younger generation folks that are more interested in how to build with each other. Not to say that folks in my age group don't, but I think it's just easier. Younger people have a different perspective. They've been exposed to other things, and they have a different perspective around cooperation. But yeah, I'm really excited about this model development, right? It's because once people see that we can actually power our own projects, that we can actually create the communities that we want, and then we can tell our elected officials and these corporations and, these folks, so we can tell people like, no, this is what we want. We want these things in our community, and we can help to build those things, and then educate the folks in the community um, with this kind of you know new mindset, right, of how to build with each other. I mean, this is a long this is a long haul conversation. This is not like short term, right? Because we have generations of enslaved mindset in in us, right? So it's gonna take a minute, like, but I don't think it's gonna take as long as folks think,
Yeah.
just because we can see the other side of it that is happening in the world, right? We can see what's happening in the world and say, well, I don't want to be a part of that, right? And I think that's what a lot of people are saying now is that they don't want to be a part of the things that are happening and in the things that we're seeing globally. Um, so what's the alternative? Like what's the other thing? So that's
Yeah.
what this is. It's like us creating what that thing looks like, right? It's
Yeah.
us funding our own things. It's us saying, you know, we are powering our projects. We're the ones that are bringing the projects to the communities. We're the people that are living here. We're the ones that are saying no to that, but yes to this, right? This is the yes. This is the thing that we want, right? It's a different conversation, right? It's a different way of looking at business. It's a different way. We're not looking at this as business in a capitalistic sense, like competition, and you
Mhm.
know, we're not looking at it like that. Like okay, I can have a business on a corridor. It's very similar to a business that's across the street from me. Why not? And
Mhm.
why not us figure out ways that we can work together? Why not? Like why not think like that?
Yeah.
Why not build like that, right? And I think that that's what this um, that's what the Out West Gallery and Cafe project, like this model of cooperation is. So if you go to GoFundMe, look up People Power Projects, you'll see my name, you'll see a picture of the Out West Gallery and Cafe next to Pop Courts on Chicago and Lockwood. Please share it, donate, if you can. But if you can't, like, share it, it'd be great.
Yeah.
Just to get it out there, you know what I mean? Like, I just want people to see it. I just want folks to see there is a way, you
There
know.
is way.
And if I could do it, you could do it.
Yeah.
Like I'm not an educated. I haven't gone to like years of school and all this other stuff. I'm self-educated. I educated myself. I
Yeah.
have a high school diploma. That's it. You know what I mean? But I have taken a lot of years, a lot of years, y'all, to get here on my
Yeah.
own.
Through
No
experience.
help. Yeah,
Yeah.
like nobody helped me. This wasn't like I didn't have like rich family saying here's some money for you to figure it out. Would have been nice, but I just didn't have it, right?
Yeah.
So what you see is somebody who's developed themselves, and if I could do it, so can you. So
Yeah.
it's just really showing the possibility of what that looks like. But if this is the way, if you want to be an entrepreneur, you want to bring some cool, neat things to community, you got to work on you too,
Yeah.
on the way it works.
I love that. I love this.
love this.
I love the
Yes.
conversation. Just bringing the power back to the people. I think these are just conversations that have to be had more with us. We don't
We don't
necessarily look at.
look at it.
I don't think that we necessarily always look at like the power that we have with ourselves. And so a lot
So
of
a
the
lot of
time, I don't know, I find people being in the
the
same
same
place, arguing about the same resources and the same things.
thing.
When it's like, if
It's
you
like
sit down, you all are each other's resource. Like everything that you're talking about right now, like can be created in this space, just with a
just
little bit
a little
more
bit
strategy. And if we shift our
shift
perspective of what we're looking for, and then you can
you
figure out
can
how to
figure out
work
how
to
to work
the bigger
together.
funding,
But
and then you're not
you're not
fighting each other for it, and then you can be
being
more
more
productive to get it because you have the manpower, you have
Yeah.
experience. I don't know.
I don't know.
I love it. I love everything about it. So I think
Yeah. Thank you. Thank
they
you.
got to
Like,
adapt, and it is a new way. It's another way of thinking, and that's what those uncomfortable, you know, transitions because
positions
it's
that
the way that you
way that
see
you
things, the way that you think about things, and
think.
so you know,
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Like, I actually had a meeting with a funder a few weeks ago, about a month ago, and just me sharing my model with her, she was even like, "Wow, that's it's very different." You know what I mean? Because when I'm saying to even corporations or foundations, it's like what we need is unrestricted funds. Like we need unrestricted money. We don't need we don't we don't like all of the things that they put, all the jumping through hoops you got to go through
yes,
just to get some grant money. Like I'm so over it. I'm
yeah,
so over it. Like there was this grant that was due today, and I kind of beat myself up over the last 2 weeks because I didn't apply for it. And over the weekend, I was kind of, I was in my head about it, right? Because I was like, dang, man, like I could probably get that grant, probably, like
Mm-hmm.
not like yet,
Definitely.
right? Like,
Yeah.
and so like, and I had to say to myself, I was like, and I said, this is part of your what you say that you're creating is this kind of new way of powering projects is not necessarily going through the same systems to have the funding available, right? Because what I'm saying is like we can do it ourselves. That means that I can do it myself too. That means that I got to look at how I'm funding when I'm funding. I got to look at that differently. So it is not like applying for things that I would
Mm-hmm.
usually apply for, right? And look, like there was a weight that just came off of my body.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because I was like, I could really focus on what I like, how I want to do it. And it's like what you just said about perspective, right? When you shift your perspective and realize that there's nothing wrong, right? Because there's nothing wrong with me not writing that grant. I possibly could have gotten grants, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's also that possibility that I wouldn't get it. And
Mm-hmm.
there's also a possibility that all that energy and time that I put into that and not get it, like
Repeating
I
this.
just I just don't want to do that anymore. I
Yeah.
just don't want to spend my time applying for things that that are competitive and people like a lot of times I don't get the grant. Like I've written so many grants and I've gotten a lot, but there are so many that I've written that I haven't gotten. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? And I'm just like, I'd rather spend my time doing the things that I love to do in a way that I want to do it, that I'm getting downloaded, I'm getting the information that's telling me do it this way.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way I'm gonna do it. I'm not gonna section myself off and be like, oh, okay, I'm gonna do it like this and I'm gonna do it like that. I'm like, no.
Mm-mm.
So it's also that confidence in what I know that is true for me that it's going to work for me. And writing a grant for $250,000 sounds great, but the amount of shit
Energy.
that I gotta go through, even if I get the grant,
Yep.
let's say I get that
That's
bitch.
the other part. Then when you do get it.
Oh my God, you know how much shit you gotta go through when you get a grant from the government? God, it's so much. Like I'm like, oh my God, I don't even fucking go through this shit. Don't.
I'm with you on this. I'm with you
Don't do
100%. I think the other thing about grants for me was just like I saw the game. I saw the game. So this is a relationship thing though too. You know what I mean? Like definitely you have some foundation people who will share in the process, but you really can't tell these things. It's relationship. The only time I'm going after a grant is if I know that I know somebody and it's gonna be worth my time to do, if that makes sense. But other than that, like to sit for hours knowing that all it takes is for one person to know the people and they won't even look at what I just spent all the time doing.
Girl, look, this woman did um she did a community meeting around this project that she's creating.
Mm-hmm.
And when she shared all of the different funders that were funding her project, and when she told the group, and this is just a reconfirmation to me, and I was like, see, so by her sharing the work that she's doing in community with this project, a funder saw what she was sharing and gave her almost $1 million to her towards her project.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like,
Yep.
huh, she didn't have to write no damn grant.
No.
She didn't have to write no motherfucking grant.
Nope.
She just shared it with the world, and they said, "Here you go." I said, "Ain't that
Because she
that's it?"
learned, she did business. Like we don't always be doing business. Like we asking, we are very good at asking for some, like, can you please grant us this type thing versus being confident in what you created and then pitching it directly to the funders and sharing the story directly because they're the funding source. Like they can do it. They don't have to like, they can put you in their budget because they got to donate and do all these things anyway.
Girl, so I said to myself, you know what? That's it. You know, that's the way to do it. So that's why I put this fundraising campaign out, right? I
Mhm.
put it out because it was like, I want to share this work. I want to share this work with the people. I want to share myself. I want people to see what I'm up to. I want folks to understand the scope, not scope, but the
Mhm.
scope of the work, right? I
Mhm.
want folks to understand like that, like, and actually see it and hear from me instead of
Mhm.
me writing this damn
Uh-huh.
grant. You know what I mean? Like, no. So yeah, this is the exciting part for me. It's, just being able to be confident in myself, right, to share this information, but also to refine my skill around pitching and just the whole nine. So
I love that.
so now I'm just like making, like focusing in and saying no to things, right? It's so great. Like I say no, I'm like, no, I don't have to do that. Like I have to write that damn thing. You know what I mean?
Yes. And it's like you gotta do these things. So you can have time to focus and capacity. That's the other part that was hard with change. Is that when you realize you have to change, you realize that means that you really have to do things differently. And you have to make the decision to do it. What's gonna feel like the most, like the worst time to ever do something different because you want to go back to your comfort zone. You want to do the things that you feel, will work. Like, no, that's exactly why you're changing. And so the
Mm-hmm.
only way to change is to literally change. You gotta say no.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's
I mean,
really interesting, like how there's no way around. Like you actually got to do the thing in order for it to exist. It's crazy,
yeah,
but it's the reality.
yeah. You're right. So what is that? What is that like for you? What has that been like? Like just with you being a an entrepreneur and going through those changes, right? Um, what are those things that have come up for you when embracing change?
Well, I think first last year, full around up until this point, has been like the most changes in year time I think I've had. Like a lot of transition. Um, and what was the question?
I said, what has it been like, embracing change?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So initially, I used to struggle with it because I really had this issue with control that I didn't realize. Like I knew I wanted to control something, but I realized that my real battle with change was control. Like in my mind, I saw it the way I needed. I saw it, and when it just did not look like it at all, it was a struggle for me always. And so the process for me has been like really reevaluating my relationship with control, just learning to let go, you know? And that's been the exercise for me because and since I've been doing that, this change has kind of been a breeze. Like kind of been like I'm excited to see like what I'm made of. When something and the only way to see it is if when it happens, when I give myself an opportunity to like do the thing. And what I've been noticing and paying attention to lately with the change, my body has been reacting. So now things that would I've noticed the changes in me now, and that I've really reprogrammed my like my subconscious, like my nervous system to like not panic in like parenting situations. And it's amazing to see like, be able to feel it in your body when something happens. And I'm like, wow, I'm able to like stay regular, like control myself through it. It didn't my heart didn't beating through my chest. I was able to think calmly. Like I started thinking about all of the things that I like am doing real time in the midst of change. I don't know, this could sound crazy, but like really watching myself like outer body through this process. And that's what I've noticed has been the difference for me at this particular point in my life is that my body is not reacting to things like out of being anxious or, just fear, things like that. And I love that for me. So this journey for me now has just been like now what I'm like, okay, I don't so calm, Mr. Chaos, that I'm not actually detecting, like I don't have to be like an explicit thing to make me move. So now the only thing with this particular change is learning to stay in flow without the chaos, without that thing that makes you jump up and just being able to be like in flow, without that added. That is the change that I'm really navigating now.
That's great. It sounds like, to me, it sounds like you've been embracing change with grace. Oh, I was like, it's exactly what it sounds like. I mean, it sounds like, because you have to like internally notice like what your body's doing when you're like, that's just part of the work, right?
Yeah.
And what I heard you say was like you notice that you're internally not doing the same thing that you've done before, right? Which is you're not freaking out. Your stomach isn't hurt. Well, like whatever those things are for you,
all the
right?
things.
Right? Those things aren't happening, right? So you shifted into this new person where you're seeing that that's what grace looks like, right? That's what it looks like. That's what it looks like when you're sitting there and you're like, oh shit, like I'm not tripping right now.
Yeah,
Like I'm not freaking out. This is really cool. Like,
this feels
but
good.
then at the same time, asking yourself questions like, but am I too laid back right now?
Should I be
Like,
freaking out?
like is it too laid back? Is it too? But you're playing with it. It sounds like you're experimenting. You're playing with it. You're like saying to yourself, oh, okay, well, like let's see what happens next time, or maybe I'll do it like this next time. Let's see how. I mean, that's the fun part, right? Like that's where the fun comes in. And like you said, it's like this is like the first time where you've been like this, and it's like you're actually it's not that you're having fun doing it.
Yeah, I'm like, dang, okay.
So cool, girl.
It's like an outer body experience for real.
It is.
It's so weird. It makes you think about life. Like, do other people like think about life this way? Or it makes me think about how I was doing life before this. Now, like, how was I like? I wonder my thoughts now, like even 2 years ago, and how I was navigating the world and how I saw it. I'm thinking like, what was I thinking? Like, how was I thinking? It's really,
Girl,
I can't remember.
I can tell you,
Ah,
I was forcing myself like to do and be what I thought other folks would want me to be.
Hmm.
Like I was so concerned with the appearance of what it looked like, rather than and not even knowing that this conversation that we're having right now exists, right? Like I just wasn't there, and I'm not like upset with myself that I didn't get it at that time, because I didn't, and that's fine because I'm loving where I'm at right now, and for me to get here, for me to be here, that I went through that thing that led me here, and I'm loving where I'm at. So that was supposed to happen the way it did, and I'm okay with it. But as when I look back, And I was literally forcing myself to be in relationships with people I didn't want to be with, in relationships with. I was forcing myself to be in spaces that I didn't want to be in
Mm.
because I felt like I had to, because I had to make money, or I had to do this, I had to do that, blah blah blah. You know, um, I was doing things that I felt like I had to do that I didn't enjoy doing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like I could see 10 years ago. Oh yeah, oh yeah,
Jeez.
hell yeah.
I think that was before like my hard switch. So I know 2 years ago, I was 35. I was probably still enjoying. I was still traveling a lot. I enjoyed my work that I was doing because it was still
Mhm.
in the school.
Yeah.
I traveled. I can't. That's why I'm like, I wonder what my thoughts were like about the way I was experiencing life and seeing myself. I don't even know. I'm gonna have to think on it.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm gonna have to
absolutely.
think.
Yeah,
So I know that we're in like an hour and 5 minutes. And this has been good.
yeah, absolutely.
But I know, girl, I gotta get this day started for me.
Yeah, me too.
My whole little morning.
Mhm. Me too.
Whole,
I got so like what's something that you I mean, I don't mind, shifting into closing out. Like,
okay.
so what are some things that you got from this conversation today?
You know what? I really think that these conversations that we've been having lately, and especially like today, like with and change, then having that situation happen earlier today is just realizing that I'm not embracing like I've embraced it, So it's like it feels good to know that like real time. Because I mean, this conversation really has me thinking about earlier today and what could potentially been really crazy, but to see how I was able to like navigate that, it just makes me grateful for the opportunity to grow and change. You know what I'm saying? This conversation makes me feel good because it's like, yeah, girl, keep doing your work. Like
Mhm.
everything else will come to it, but the work is work. And you're being shown that, in your day to day, every single day, which is amazing. Like every day, I'm being shown, like, keep going, keep going. Just really quickly, Garrett and I on Saturday, Miranda, she does it every Saturday. So we just decided, we were supposed to interview her dad, but he ended up his car wasn't working, so he ended up not being able to make it, on time. But another thing with embrace and change, like it was like, all right, we just gonna do a pop up podcast, and we're gonna interview your vendors, like just pick vendors to talk about and share. And that thing, I watched it live. I went live, like literally that was moving out the set real time, like just as we had no concept of questions, idea, name of the podcast, and nothing. We just decided to go with the flow and to just build. And we had 3 30-minute interviews with 3 different entrepreneurs, and the way we set it up and the way it just happened was so powerful, and it changed their perspective because they had never done anything like that before because they were older. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we shifted everything in there. And again, it was just that idea of embracing change. And that's how I know again that I've grown, because if it were like in the past, like I remember past having my mind set to do something and then it getting canceled or something like that, and it completely like you know.
Yes.
But
I've been there, girl. Yes.
this time around, it was like, okay, well, what else can we do? And
Right.
then we created something even bigger that we didn't even, to the point where we were done. It was entrepreneurs walking into the space because they wanted to stop the interview for next time. Like this happened time on Saturday. It was just like all from embracing change, like not letting it perspective, choosing to not let it take me. And now I'm like, "Dang, this was even better. Like this is more amazing. We got a whole different out off of it.
Mm,
Just doing something.
mm,
So it's just this conversation is just reminding me to keep going and to keep
right.
embracing and keep flowing. Working. It's working. It's working. Across the
Mm.
board. So that's
It
what I got.
is, girl. Yeah. I mean, that's perfect. Like I totally got everything you just said, and yeah, like I think that like being in the moment and really truly being present and not, and being in the flow, like you said, and how like life brings you where to move, how to move, and you know, and brought you an opportunity to
Mhm.
step into, and you did, right? And you were able to be in the flow and move and offer something to people that they weren't expecting
Mhm.
and that they enjoyed, and they are now wanting to be interviewed. Like they see the importance of it. They're seeing the power of what you do and how you are with people, and so now they want to be a part of it. I mean, that's brilliant. That's
And it's like
how
we make them feel seen, and they're trying to
right.
find that, not in that way today. So it's like after every, I'm like, damn, this is more powerful than what, like, we just put up to create to do something, but what we just provided, what it did for us, it was the energy was reciprocal for it was reciprocated for sure. It was just like, wow, we had no idea.
Right.
Nervous and we're afraid, and then you got going and telling your stories. And to your point, like the importance of being able to tell your story, like to get it out from us talking to them and like hearing their stories, I was like, great, I need to buy this library because now it makes sense. Now I'm not just walking past juice, like I'm understanding the everything from it, and I'm getting, and I know that it was curated because you had a health problem. So now when you say like that to me, it's like, oh, I gotta get this from my mom. It
Hmm.
is everything just from going with the flow and embracing change.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. It does like it does show me too, like the impact of just being in, just going with the flow, being with however it shows up, right? Like
Yeah,
being with it,
just staying in it.
and it's beautiful. Like that. That's like I did a podcast yesterday.
Yeah,
I did a podcast yesterday on the South Side, at this cafe, the Urban Lux Cafe. I don't know if you've been there, but
I've heard
it's
of that.
yeah, it's on I think it was on 79. It was on 79th and Exchange. So it's
Okay,
like southeast side in the South Shore area. And
yeah, girl, you peace.
yeah, I mean it's like it's like right there, the lake, right?
Mhm.
And it was great. It was around like it was called Talking Trash. It was around like this conversation around litter, and
I love that.
and like talking. They were talking to some urban like growers, folks that are doing like farming, gardening in different communities. And of course, like I walk in the room and I know almost everybody in the room, right? Like, um, and two people that were on the panel that I knew that one of the gardens that I've been working with since I've lived out west. That was one, which was funny because I was like, oh my God, I was just at the garden last week. You know what I mean? Like I did a tour and I went right past that garden because I was like, okay, I want to go there because they put raised beds, so now I can get a raised bed and I can do some gardening this
Yeah,
year. And so Robert, his name's Robert, he was there, and his wife. They they are the caretakers of that garden. My mother was a caretaker of that garden,
oh
so
my god,
it was perfect, right?
oh
So he
so
was there,
sweet.
and then this other woman that I met like almost 8 years ago, and she is an artist and also a gardener, and came to this meeting that I had when I was working for this nonprofit, and I actually helped. I'm like a handful of you, maybe 10 or so folks, write this grant. Um, and so they were doing different projects, but I helped her through the whole process. I helped a bunch of people. But I mean, she was like, she acknowledged me and she was just like, I just want everybody to know like how, what Vanessa does. And, like it was so funny because like I didn't even really think about it because I'm just like, isn't that what you're supposed to do? Like, that's what I do, right? That's what I do. which isn't what you're supposed to do. It's just what I do, right?
What you do. Mhm.
And so, but in that conversation after it was over, like everybody was like, "Oh my God, like I want to talk to you. We need to talk, and I would love to do this, that thing, and you know what I mean." And so I just really got my impact. You
Yep.
know, I really got it. So that's what with embracing change. Like being in the flow and being able to move, to have movement in my life, and being able to stay true to who I am and be authentic with who I am. It really does bring a lot of magic into my life, right? Like
Yes.
I have a very magical life. And the folks that I come in contact with, and just the opportunities that come to me, I'm like I said, I'm very grateful for. And so yeah, like you know, being that impact for myself and for the people in the community because they impact me. Like I get impacted by the folks that are doing this work. So it's like this, reciprocal kind of energy that's going on. So yeah, I was very moved this weekend too. Like I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
that was really cool. It's really cool to be in space with people who are creating community around food, which is like
Powerful.
the work. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the work. That's the work.
I love this. Okay, so as we close out, how do you feel? What are your closing thoughts? What is something that you would like anyone who finds this to? What would you like to leave them with, or like?
I guess like I think you said it very well with just kind of just allowing and letting go and just being with the flow. I know it takes some time to be uncomfortable,
Yeah.
being comfortable with being uncomfortable, right? But I think that's why we're here. That's why we're doing this work. You're coming out with the ebook soon. I'm coming out with my ebook soon, and I think that like these nuggets that we give people here, the space to actually stop for a moment and just kind of be and listen to real conversation about real things that are happening real time. I just think that you know that you're enough, you're okay, you're in a great place. I think that like that's it. Like don't make it mean anything other than that what it is. Um, which can be challenging for folks, but come back next week. Come back next week and to continue to engage with us. And continue to be in the flow and embrace change with grace.
Yes, I love this. I think that's the perfect way to end this. I love it. What do you have planned for the rest of your day?
So today I am going to do a little bit of planning and work. I did my live this morning. I did a TikTok live for 25, almost 25 minutes, which is a long time for me, but I did it.
Yeesh.
Um, and I did pretty good. Like I'm enjoying doing the lives, like just incorporating it more consistency with it. So today I got a few things to do, like admin, emails, fun stuff,
I
right?
think that'll be me today.
And I'm going to visit with some family this afternoon. That's it, girl. Just chilling. Tomorrow's my birthday, so
Yes, I love this for you. Well, I do hope that you enjoy your birthday. I will definitely talk to you tomorrow
awesome.
to wish you a very happy birthday, and you have a very good rest of your day.
I sure will. You do the
My
same.
day is gonna be the exact same as yours, admin, and I'm getting better. I'm changing my mindset around it because I used to really hate it. And you notice I said used to, I don't love it, but I hate it now. So it's
Yeah.
growing on me. And I'm starting to be more productive on these days. Like I'm getting more done.
Yeah.
So it makes me happy.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, I feel you about the perspective shift. And I think that what is helping me is that I don't have to do anything that I don't want to do.
Part.
I just don't have to do it.
That part.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's it took a weight off my body. I was like, wait a minute, I ain't got to do that. I don't.
I love this.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, well, I will see you. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Okay, sounds good. You have a great rest of your day.
You too. You all have a good day.
All right, bye everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Let's do it. Let's